So it was a week or two into January 2026. The holiday season excitement had worn off, and I was left with it getting dark outside by 4:30 p.m. and lonely nights when my daughter was at her dad's house. Normally, I'd turn on some spiritual teacher's video during this time, maybe motivate myself for an evening of meditation practice and inner reflection. But one night, I decided to turn on the first episode of Ted Lasso. Now, I watched this show when it first came out, I think back in 2020, but it had been a while. Only halfway into the first episode, I found myself laughing literally out loud all by myself. I belly laughed harder than, to be honest, harder than I can remember in a long time. And that realization really struck me. Like, wait, when did spirituality stop being fun? The way I stepped into this journey of exploring spirituality and mysticism and energy healing, it's left me and my Saturn in Capricorn way too serious. Like, way too serious, you guys. I mean, I also have Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn in my house of service, so it's hard. I'm on a mission, but at the same time, I can't help but think about that possible life review we get when we pass away. Like, what would my soul say about this life experience? And I know for sure one of my realizations would be that I took life a little too seriously. I forgot to take advantage of the things you're just simply not able to do unless you are in human form, like laugh your ass off. How many of you are way too busy trying to hit your goals, trying to be so spiritual that you forgot to also live your human experience? And that's the one fact that we actually do know and we have. Your soul chose to be in human form right now. That's why you're here. Not just a soul. It wants to feel and go through all the human experiences, the ones we label good and the ones we label bad. It wants you to feel all the amazing feelings you can feel, like joy and love and peace and the medicine of laughter. But if you're like me, I'm often putting my own shackles on myself, shaming myself for either indulging too much one night or not meditating enough or putting some other spiritual teacher or influencer up on a pedestal because I think their gifts are better than mine or like that their life looks cooler than mine. This is the spiritual seeker's trap. Consuming spiritual information versus learning and growing through life by simply being you. We are so busy reaching for these divine experiences, we forget to be human. So, after realizing how much joy that one episode of Ted Lasso brought me, I decided while we were faced with the coldest weather of the year for like the next 2 weeks straight, I would give myself a pass and let myself watch some Ted Lasso in my downtime. And here's the really cool thing, you guys. Ted Lasso, all 3 seasons, is such a spiritual lesson and teacher in itself. And I'm going to dive into the reasons why today. So let's dive into the Lasso way. My name is Dana, your transformation guide. And put down in the comments below if you have seen Ted Lasso before or if maybe I might be ruining it for you. So hopefully I'm not. I don't think I will be in this. I'm just comparing some stories. It's so good, you guys. Go watch it. Let me start with Rebecca's character story because this one is a good one and it's relatable. Ted Lasso starts out with Rebecca wanting to seek revenge on her ex-husband Rupert for his very public cheating and their messy divorce. She brings on Ted Lasso, who is a football coach, to coach a premier soccer club in England, hoping that he'll tank the team and humiliate Rupert in the process because that was like Rupert's favorite team and he used to manage it. Anyway, if you've ever had your heart broken, I'm sure you know what the desire of revenge feels like. Guilty. Relationships are arguably the biggest spiritual teachers we have in this lifetime. And it was so cool to watch how the story unfolded for Rebecca, how she started to realize that she didn't care about revenge on Rupert anymore. She was happy again without him. And in the end, Rupert had karma coming back at him without her even trying to do it. His next wife and mistress go to the press about him. His team loses and he's publicly humiliated and called a wanker by his own fans. Spiritual lesson: karma always wins. This is such a powerful mirror of what happens when we hold on to resentment in relationships versus when we choose to heal and move forward. Rebecca's journey shows us that our freedom doesn't come from punishing others. It comes from choosing ourselves. And I know, guys, that's easier said than done. It takes a lot of stillness and forgiveness to let go of the hurt that you're feeling, to feel it first, let it move through you, and then not want that revenge or bad karma for the other person, knowing that the universe has got your back. Okay, so let's talk about the main character, Ted Lasso. He is just the mirror of humanity, of the different archetypes and possibilities that we hold. Ted uses jokes and sarcasm as armor because, like so many people in his generation, especially, they did not talk about feelings and emotions and trauma they went through when they were kids. And we see that with Ted. He bottled it all up and was taught to be strong. But the show takes us on a journey of showing us how that emotional energy gets stuck in his body. And it starts to show up as panic attacks when he's in high stress, highly stimulated environments like soccer games. Through so many of the characters on this show, it shows us how hard it really is for humans to be vulnerable. But when they are able to be vulnerable and admit that they don't have it all figured out, they can be so much more relatable. Like Roy Kent, for example, he had to retire as a soccer player at the end of his career and he lost his identity and he was doubting himself as he figured out what was next for his life. Or Keeley, who in the beginning is honestly just praised for her looks. And then she starts to get praised for the actual work and creativity that she's bringing. And she's doing that while still owning her authentic vibrancy. Or Coach Beard, who, let's be honest, kind of owned his authenticity from the beginning, and that is just so motivating. These characters really remind us that being human is messy, it's different for everyone, and it's totally okay. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments below if you also lived a life as a child where you didn't really get to emote much, and then you kind of had those stuck emotions in you. I think there's such a huge majority of people who have gone through that experience of having to create this protector self for themselves, and that's showing up later in life, maybe in regards to not being able to be vulnerable in relationships. And then lastly, there's Nathan Shelley's story. Nate the Great, who starts out as such a great human being who has this huge heart, but kind of gets pushed around a lot. And as he steps into his confidence, knowing that he wants to be respected and starts to realize that he is meant for more and he's seen his own talents, he then kind of allows the lower vibrational aspects of himself to jump in. I feel like his story we could kind of compare to like shadow work in spirituality. He almost overcompensates in the belief in himself and he gets very self-obsessed in his 1 minute of glory that he had. And this shows us how every human has a shadow side. It's not about being good or bad. It's about recognizing that we all have wounded parts of ourselves, parts that developed protector patterns before we were even 7 years old. And when those parts get triggered, we can act out in ways that are just not aligned with our true selves. Nate's story arc is a beautiful, painful reminder that shadow work is real and that our shadows don't make us broken, they make us human. And then you know what? There was just the joy of watching a team sport like soccer. Not only the family that the guys had on the team, but also the fans. Obviously, it's a little embellished for TV, but there is this feeling of wanting to belong to a team like that. We have each other's backs, who give each other shit and celebrate each other's wins. This is tribal energy in human design. This is what we're all looking for. Our soul fractals, the people who just get us, who see us, who challenge us, and who cheer for us. And honestly, I think a lot of spiritual seekers isolate themselves because they feel like no one understands them. It can be a really lonely journey, but we're not meant to do this alone. We're meant to find our Richmond, our team. And finally, I want to point out what the show Ted Lasso had me feeling at the end of season 3. Yes, I kind of binge watched it. Probably took like 2 or 3 weeks. It left me having the belief and the desire to strive for more, not because I need more material things, but because I have a dream. I have desires and certain goals I want to hit and succeed with in my business, as a healer, as a mom, and also silly ones that I keep putting off, like being able to play 4 songs on the guitar so when I go camping, I can like actually pull it out and sing songs around the campfire. This show left me feeling like I wanted to put my hand in that middle and go Richmond on 3 and go 1, 2, 3 and just like get my butt off the couch and get out there and do something, make something happen. You can be Nate, going from being super shy to sharing your genius skills. You could be a Ted, where you gloss everything over with those jokes and sarcasm, to going to therapy and actually having a difficult conversation with your mom. Or Keeley, owning your work and your self-worth. Coach Beard, owning the weirdness that you have and your most authentic expression from day one. This is the lesson of having ambition, being the hero of your own hero's journey story. Now, I want to tie this Ted Lasso lesson into a bigger message that I want to talk about today. I started out this video talking about how rigid I can get as a spiritual seeker, as someone who loves learning, changing, evolving, and growing. And right now, we have Saturn and Neptune both in Aries. Saturn is the planet of discipline, of structure, mastery, accountability. It's our great teacher. Neptune is the planet of spirituality, intuition, dreams, mysticism. And they're both in the sign of Aries, which is the sign of action, courage, leadership, the pioneer, the warrior. So what does this mean for us? On the high vibrational level, the energy is about devoted, disciplined spiritual practice that honors your unique path. It's about courageously being yourself, regardless of what everyone is doing and being. It's about taking bold action on your spiritual insights, being a spiritual leader of your own life, not a follower of someone else's dogma. But in the shadow of this energy, this could show up as actual spiritual competition. My way is the only way. I have it right. It could be rigid rules that cut you off from your humanity. And honestly, I'm a little worried some people are going to take this energy and get so rigid with their spiritual or religious practices that they forget the whole point. While I'm excited for Saturn to bring some discipline into our spiritual practices, I hope what it really brings is devotion more than rigidity. Devotion to a spiritual practice, because being devoted to clearing, aligning, attuning to your own energy, your own intuition, and your own God spark and presence, you will then find yourself reconnecting with your most authentic self and path and expression. Because if you're being your most authentic self, you will naturally want to experience your life in and through your physical vessel, your body. And I think we can all set a goal to bring more humor and lightness back into our lives. So if you find yourself getting too rigid, too serious, too dogmatic with your spiritual practice over the next couple years, or too confused by the way that everybody else is doing it, unplug. Maybe go watch Ted Lasso. Connect back to your center, your human, and then meet your spiritual practice again with a little bit of Ted Lasso humor in it. Life is going to be so much more fun that way. Now, if you're watching this thinking, okay, I get it, I need to connect back to me, my center, but I also feel stuck, like I'm blocked from feeling free in my life, I have created a free report called What's Blocking Your Freedom? This report is personalized to your human design energy type, and it reveals your type's top 3 freedom blocks, plus practical ways to break through them and reach your most authentic, optimized level of your human design chart. Don't worry if you don't know your type. When you go to my website, you'll actually plug your information in, you'll get your chart, and then you'll get to press on the download from there. I'll drop the link in the description below. And you guys, if this video resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below, give it a like. I'm over here creating content about living an aligned life so that you can feel free. And I would love for you to come on this journey with me. And yeah, if you need a laugh, go watch some Ted Lasso. That's your prescription today. All right, Richmond on 3.